to Marcy's World. This is the house that Marcy grew up in, and I'm going to read another story from this house. Today's story is Marcy Improves Herself. Everything looked okay on the outside. Marcy's room was mostly neat. Her bed was mostly made. Her clothing was mostly picked up from the floor. Yep, everything looked mostly okay to Marcy. Marcy is a sweet girl who loves to draw pictures and play hide and seek. But she has a few small problems. First, the bus usually comes before she's done with breakfast, and it has to wait for her almost every single day. That ever happened to you? Are you always on time for your bus? Second, the teacher usually begins reading the first spelling word before Marcy finishes numbering her page. Third, she has a habit of not reading the instructions on her math tests. So even though she does know how to add and subtract, because she sometimes doesn't read the problems carefully, she often gets the wrong answer. Do you read carefully? Do you ever have these kinds of problems that Marcy's having? What do you do to fix them? Let's find out how Marcy fixes them. There was one more. She usually forgets to bring her composition book home until the last day before she has to study for a test. Marcy's a very smart girl. She just has to learn a few important lessons. So guess what she finally decided to do? One day Marcy made up her mind. She looked at her reflection in the mirror. It was over her dresser, and she said, "Hello, me. It's time to stop being late and forgetful. It is certainly time to learn how to listen carefully to instructions, and this is why today I've decided I want to have an on-time, pay attention, and good memory day." That was a very good plan. Whenever we think about things that we'd like to do better, maybe we would like to be able to do 5 sit-ups instead of just 1, we work up to it. Or we would like to be able to accomplish any goal the way Marcy did. So let's see how it turned out. Taking it one step at a time is very important to remember. "Breakfast time," called her mother from the kitchen. Marcy knew it was time to get dressed, but can you guess what happened? Marcy couldn't decide what to wear to school. After a while of searching through her sock drawer, she finally found 2 matching socks. "My goodness," she thought, "I can make this easier for myself if I match my socks up the night before. Even better than that, I can pick out my whole outfit before I go to bed. That way I won't have to rush in the morning." Marcy was so proud of herself for figuring this out, and I'm proud of Marcy also. What do you think? Was that really smart for Marcy to figure out to plan in advance? I think it was. Then once she was dressed, she hurried to eat her oatmeal while watching the clock carefully. The bus always arrived at 8:05 a.m. It was 4 minutes after 8 as she swallowed the last spoonful. Marcy kissed her puppy, kissed her sister, kissed her kitten. Then she said, "I want to give you a kiss too," and she kissed her mom. She said goodbye and dashed out the door to the bus. And can you guess what she discovered when she got there? The bus was just pulling up. "Wow," she thought. "It didn't have to wait for me at all. That made Marcy very happy because she knew she tried hard to be on time and she did it. Did you ever set a goal for yourself and accomplish it? How did it make you feel? Probably made you feel wonderful. Tomorrow, I'm going to see if I can finish my breakfast by 8 o'clock. Then I can get to my bus stop even before the bus does. And it became a game she played with herself, and it was such fun. She enjoyed testing herself. You know, when we plan to be better than we were the day before, and we accomplish it, it's like a race we're running with ourselves. Yesterday and today. So, or this morning and this afternoon. Before and now. And then, or we say now, I want to do better next time. So every time we run a race with ourselves and we win, we are always winning the race. And that's wonderful. Self-improvement. We do that with self-reflection, and we plan, and then we take steps to make it happen. So tomorrow, I'm going to see if I can finish my breakfast by 8 o'clock, and I'm going to get to the bus stop even before the bus does. And it became a game she played with herself, and it was fun. She decided to watch the clock while she ate breakfast from that morning on. You know, she thought to herself, if the bus arrives even a little bit early, and I'm not at the bus stop, as long as I'm ready to walk out early for me by 8 o'clock, I'll know I did my best and I'll be very proud of myself. So when we set a goal, and let's say in this case, the bus always came at 5 after 8. Marcy wanted to be ready at 8 o'clock. She wanted to be ready ahead of when the bus was supposed to be there. So if the bus then showed up at 7:58, which is 2 minutes before Marcy's early time, but way early for when the bus comes, or is supposed to come, Marcy would still feel good about herself, even if the bus had to wait for her, because she set a goal to be early, and she was early for the time she set to be ready. You know what I'm saying? So as long as we do our best to accomplish our goal, we have succeeded. Okay. That afternoon, just before Mrs. C asked the class to take out their red marble spelling books from their desks, Marcy reminded herself to listen carefully. She took out her book once the teacher said the class should do so. Then just after the teacher said, okay, clear your desks of everything but a pencil and your spelling book, open your books to a clean page and fold that page in half, guess what Marcy did? Do you think she listened to the instructions? Do you think she got distracted? Let's find out. Fold the page in half, said Mrs. C. And guess what Marcy did? She folded the page perfectly and then listened carefully for the next instructions. So Marcy accomplished that goal. Let's see what happens next. Even though she thought she knew what the teacher was about to say, she listened carefully to be sure. Good for Marcy. That's another goal she accomplished. Can you guess what the teacher said next? She said, all right, now write your name and the date at the top. And just as Marcy began to do that, something awful happened. Marcy started erasing and rewriting the letters in her name and the numbers of the date until she was so busy erasing and rewriting that she absolutely forgot to listen for the next instructions. And what do you suppose happened next? When the teacher said, okay class, number from 1 to 12, skip a space between each number, and you may write 11 and 12 on the other side. Marcy wasn't listening. Can you guess why? Was Marcy getting distracted? Yeah. She was writing and erasing her name. And by the time she was finally satisfied with the way she corrected her name and the date, the teacher was already reading the first word and the sentence for the class to copy. Oh no, thought Marcy as she began to listen. I haven't even numbered my page yet. So she hurried up to write number 1, and she wrote the spelling word and then listened as she numbered the rest of her page. That was a very, very clever thing for Marcy to do. Sometimes, when we become aware that we made a mistake, we do our best to fix it. And in this case, Marcy did her best to fix the mistake of being distracted and getting caught up in other things that she thought were important. But in truth, they weren't as important as listening carefully to the teacher. So let's see what happened. Suddenly Marcy realized, I spend way too much time erasing and rewriting my name and the date, and I can fix that by just being careful how I write my name and the date the first time. Wow, that is really impressive. Marcy reflected on the experience. She realized that she did not keep her word to herself. She fixed it and made plans for how to stay focused the next time. That is very complex. That is very impressive. I'm proud of Marcy. Finally, the day was over and it was time to collect her things to go to the bus. Wow, I wish Mom would pick me up today. I love when she does that. And then Marcy realized, oh, my composition book. I almost forgot. It took a lot of effort, and it didn't work perfectly each and every time. But Marcy made up her mind to have a better memory, to be on time, and to become a better listener. She worked hard to accomplish these goals she set for herself, and that's exactly what she did. So now, as you think about it, what did Marcy decide to do to help herself to get dressed on time in the morning? If you said she decided to plan the night before and lay out her clothes and choose her socks, you're right. What did Marcy watch while she ate breakfast to be sure she was on time for the bus? You remember? She watched the clock. If you said she watched the clock, you were right. I have 3 more questions. Number 3. What book did Marcy want to remember every day? Do you remember? Did you say her composition book? If you did, you were right. Number 4. What do you think Marcy could do to remind herself to bring home her composition book? So that wasn't in the story, and that's a special thing for you to think about. Could she write a note to herself? Maybe. What do you do to remind yourself about things? Think about it. And number 5, is there anything you need to work on the way Marcy has to? So thank you so much for listening to Marcy's story in How to Improve Herself. The title is Marcy Improves Herself in Marcy's book, Marcy and Her Friends. And I'll be back with another story.